but most of you have taken this seriously.
Oh, we got a few.
There's just a few that are like Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. And I'm like, that. See, I get it. And even if you're being serious or funny, try to put a little more into it.
I was going to go with Vanderbilt.
Yeah, and eventually Vanderbilt's going to take that personally, and they're going to beat somebody. Alabama.
You were going to say, did they do that last year once?
Number one in the country, Alabama, at the time at least. The conference, we don't know yet exactly what the formula looks like, but the conference is going to employ a formula. They've hired an analytics firm. And from what I understand, Terry, they're going to, before they decide, and I imagine they could take this year into account as well, but from what I understand, in very general terms, they're going to look at the last 10 years. And they're going to attempt to certainly place some much longer-term history into this, but then in an effort to create a form of competitive balance, kind of look at where the conference has been in the last 10 years and decide accordingly. Because, listen, again, I know some of you are just joking around. You say, again, Mississippi State, Vandy, Kentucky. But it won't be that, okay? I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, it won't be that. I have a second Twitter exercise for you today. Now, next year, I think Carolina was still working on it on a fourth game. But next year, Carolina only has 3 non-conference games scheduled. And forgive me, I just forgot the third, like the in-state school they're going to play next year, so I apologize.
Okay, well, this year it was Coastal and South Carolina State.
Yeah, well, Coastal wouldn't count because they're not. I'm talking the in-state FCS, and I just can't remember. I don't know if they're going back to Citadel next year. I can't remember. This year it's state. And then
last year was Wofford, right?
I think it must be Citadel next year.
Okay.
Because in 27 it is Furman. So, yeah, it must be Citadel if you want to go through cycling them that way. Anyway, so next year they could actually go ahead and add the 9th conference game without having to worry about anything on the schedule. However, in 2027, the Gamecocks have 4 non-cons scheduled. So which one of these would you drop? All right? Alphabetical order. Appalachian State. Clemson. Furman. Miami. I will tell you Clemson is not leading. I will also tell you Clemson has gotten some votes, which
really?
I think is probably Clemson fans that are weighing in on this.
Clemson fans.
Or non-Gamecock fans. Or just people in general. Hey, could be Gamecock fans. I don't know. But anyway, Clemson's not leading. I won't tell you right now which one is leading.
Can I ask you this? Is Clemson last?
Clemson is last.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to be like strangely confused if they weren't at least last. Weren't you?
Yeah. No, and really, I will be honest. I debated leaving Clemson off, but I just wanted to see.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want to see.
Because you and I will think something, and every now and then we go, wow, we didn't see that coming, right?
Right. And again, it could be somebody just being a smart aleck.
Which I appreciate.
I'm here for that.
I appreciate that.
I'm that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But so those are the things that we have for you today. And again, a lot of you have weighed in. In fact, I've been tallying them up, but I have not gone back and looked in over an hour since I made my way here to the studio and got set up for the show. So I will. I'm not going to affirm your answer. Mm-hmm. And I only want one from you right now, Mr. Ford.
Oh, out of the 3 commons?
Yeah, but what school do you believe is leading right now? I'm not going to answer it, so okay. I just want you right now to
Georgia.
Okay.
From being around here for 4 years and talking to a lot of Gamecock fans, including the guy sitting across the glass from me. Georgia.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm just curious to see what you might have thought just with your gut.
And my gut, I almost went Tennessee.
Okay.
But my gut goes Georgia. Okay. I just feel like that's again, border states.
Right.
Played for a long time. Right. I'm going to go Georgia.
Okay.
What do I win if I get it right?
A really cool 107.5 The Game trucker hat.
Well, I'd love to have one of those.
Which it seems you
I'd love to have one of those.
Already own. So you know what? Man, I don't know what else to give you.
I'll take that dollar bill.
Well, would you, the guy yesterday that or 2 days ago that got the George Rogers mural right and asked what does he win? And I said a gently used station T-shirt worn by David Dare. Would you like that instead?
I've already got one of those too.
Oh my! Really? How's that working out for you? Dang. You're ahead of the curve, bro.
Hey, I'm always thinking outside the box,
Sure,
man.
yeah, that's the way to do it.
Always outside the box.
That's the way to do it. We'll also get into a little bit more around the college football playoff changes, or at least adjustments. And it is funny on Twitter, and I'm not picking on anybody, but it's funny to see on Twitter, again, for some reason, Big Ten fans are like borderline apoplectic on Twitter about the SEC going to 9. I mean, they were complaining about the SEC playing 8, and then they go to 9, and you had to be dragged kicking and screaming. I was like, no, they just had to make sure that if they do it, it's going to be worth it, and not just worth it financially, but worth it competitively.
Right.
And they've been given that assurance. I mean, again, I don't come up with the strength of schedule numbers, and I'm not really here to go SEC versus Big Ten. I don't care. In fact, what I want is SEC versus Big Ten annually on the football field, say last weekend of September, first weekend of October. I think that would be tremendous. But I digress.
Be a lot of fun.
I don't come up with, you, Terry Ford, don't come up with, and I think all of these fans that bitch and moan or whatever, whoever they pull for around the country, don't come up with the strength of schedule numbers. Okay?
Nope.
But the current strength of schedule numbers, and you can go back and look, the current strength of schedule numbers show all 16 Southeastern Conference schools in the top 20 of the strength of schedule. Now, that's going into the season. To be fair, we'll see where it is at the end. There are 3 Big Ten schools, and there's 1 ACC school in the top 20.
And look.
And those 3 Big Tens, by the way, are Wisconsin, Ohio State, and interestingly enough, UCLA.
How about that? That is interesting.
Yeah.
Look, we talk about this all the time. The Big Ten has such an inferiority complex.
It's weird.
To the SEC. And look, the Big Ten's won the last 2 national championships.
And
enjoy yourself.
Look, Ohio State's Ohio State. Yeah. Again, I think Ohio State and Georgia have separated from every other program in the country.
Yeah, I mean.
I genuinely do. And then there's like Penn State and Texas and Michigan won, and I get, that's cool. I want Wisconsin to get better again.
But the problem with the Big Ten is once you get past that top layer of 3 or 4 teams, it does dramatically fall off. Yeah, and the SEC has more depth of good football teams.
I agree. And again, I think that's why the strength of schedule numbers are what they are.
Look, man, you get to the bottom of that Big Ten. I'm not making it up. No, it's not. Watch it. We've got 1-loss records. We've got facts and how these teams play. We watch them play. We see results. Nobody's making this up to smack you around. It's just reality.
Yeah, I mean, somebody else came up with it.
Look, nobody's...
And chances are pretty good the people that came up with it, and I mean this in a good way, probably went to an Ivy League school.
Sure. And by the way, nobody makes it up that Northwestern stinks.
Right. Or they might have gone to Northwestern, because that's a really good school.
That's a really good school.
I don't know. Anyway, all right, lots to get to on the program. We'll come back again. Hit us up. No start, bench, drop. Instead, hit me on Twitter at jphillips1075. Your 3 choices for permanent opponents for the Gamecocks. I'll give you those leaders in the clubhouse when the postgame show returns. Griffin Pools and Spas is ready to make your life a whole lot more relaxing, whether it is finally turning that backyard into a brand new vacation spot with your own pool. Maybe you've got a pool to help you make sure it's maintained in tip-top shape, or you can take advantage of their special Labor Day sale going on through September the 2nd, where Griffin Pools and Spas and Bullfrog are offering you up to $2,500 off a brand new Bullfrog Spa. And these spas are fantastic. You can actually make every seat an individual customized massage just the way everybody wants it. All right, check that out. So you can get it and see these things, how they would look, where they would fit inside your backyard, patio, deck, next to the pool, whatever you want to do. Steps away from the Lake Murray Dam in Lexington, always online at griffinpoolsandspas.com. All right, 20 minutes after 3 o'clock here on a Friday afternoon. Welcome back into the postgame show. Along with Terry Ford, I'm Jay Phillips. Appreciate you being with us. David Cloninger coming up in just a few minutes. Yesterday, D.C. broke the story on Carolina moving to Nike after when it's all said and done, a near 20-year relationship with Under Armour. But starting next summer, a 10-year deal with Nike worth a shade under $80 million. Most of that certainly in apparel and equipment. But Carolina gets some cash out of it, and I believe there's going to be an NIL component. I don't know if we have all the details just yet. Jeremiah Donati made a few brief remarks today after the Board of Trustees meeting. We did invite someone, whether it's Jeremiah or anybody else, his brand new associate AD, Wesley Mallett, who has a lot to do with some of these things, although I would imagine that most of this was done before Wesley got on campus. But they were very polite and said we're not ready to do full media on this yet. So that's fine, but we asked.
And we have to. That's our job.
Yeah.
But again, I go back to what you and I were yapping about yesterday with just in this short period of time watching how this new regime handles their business.
Mm-hmm.
So after what we've seen in a short period of time, I'm not surprised that they would say we're not prepared to have a conversation yet on the air, even though it's our job to ask. Yeah. I am not surprised they said, give us a little bit of time here, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll.
David was down. David did get to see Jeremiah, so he'll have some things. But, again, Jeremiah spoke to an assembled group of reporters at the BOT meeting for a couple of minutes, so a little bit. But as soon as they're available, we'll have someone on too, and we'll have Jeremiah on hopefully here in the coming weeks for his next visit with us.
I've got his address now. Why don't we just go on over?
Yeah, that's all we need to do.
Let's go pop on over with the Comrex.
That's all we need.
Jeremiah, dude.
He'll never come on again. All right, so Terry, with an educated guess, said Georgia would be the leader right now of the 3 choices for permanent Gamecock football opponents once the league goes to 9 conference games. And again, it's going to be a 3+6 format. And again, no start bench drop today, which not typically, it always features 3 things. So instead of that today, and you know what I should have done is rank them. I should have had, sort of a start bench or something, I don't know.
Something different.
But I didn't ask it that way. Just wanted the 3. Good news, Terry Ford. You are right. As of now, Georgia is out front. I don't know if you'll be surprised, but Kentucky is number 2 on this.
Interesting.
Do you want to?
I would think Tennessee would be 2, and maybe Kentucky 3.
Okay. Well, Kentucky, it's tight with Kentucky and the current 3rd place school. Would you like to guess who the current?
I would go Tennessee.
3rd place school.
I would go Tennessee.
Not Tennessee.
Not Tennessee.
Not Tennessee. But if you keep driving west on I-40, you'll get there.
Vandy.
That's right. But it's close.
Do you think if every sports talk station in every SEC town is doing what you're doing right now, is Vandy on everybody's list?
Yes.
I know.
And that's the reality of Vanderbilt's existence in the conference.
You brought that on yourself if you're Vandy, just to be fair.
And again, I think most of you have taken this as seriously as I'd like you to.
Mm-hmm.
My choices were Georgia, which I sincerely hope that we're going to get Georgia again around here. But I would tell you my confidence level is 50-50.
I'll be honest, and I hope I'm wrong, because I would love to see Georgia back on the schedule, because I think most Gamecock fans I talk to want to play Georgia.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think the competitive balance measure, whatever you want to call that, is probably going to ding Carolina. And I think a lot of people feel it's going to be Kentucky. Because here's the thing. I assure you, and all of you know this, Georgia is going to have Florida and Auburn.
I was going to say
every year.
Florida, Auburn, and the 2 Georgia's going to have.
That's not negotiable. Right. That's like Alabama's going to have Auburn and Tennessee.
Absolutely.
That's not negotiable.
And Tennessee's going to have Alabama and Vandy.
Yes, and that's not negotiable.
So now can.
Although I thought about that because I said Tennessee might get Florida, but I think you're right. It'll be Vandy.
They get Vandy. I think that.
Which means it won't be Carolina.
No.
Because they'll get it at that point. See, they wouldn't even get Kentucky then. They might.
They might get Kentucky.
Or they might get Bama, Florida, Vandy. But I chose Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee. But I said if you can't get Tennessee, give me Missouri. because I think the Missouri game has become
a thing,
a really good game, man. I mean, if you want to go back to the Connor Shaw game, or you want to go to that Monsoon game, or you want to go to the game last year, or, there's been a couple others that have been some really good games. A couple of these games under Eli Drinkwitz, I'm still baffled as to how Carolina didn't win, because I know Carolina had the more talented team. Maybe not a dramatically more talented team, but nevertheless, that's become a thing. And the Mayor's Cup and all that, that's a kitschy little sidebar to it, and that's fun. And, generationally speaking, that could become more of a thing. But I don't really, honest to God, I really don't care about the other two. I just really, 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 really want Georgia back on the schedule. As someone who's grown up here, as someone who went to school here and whatever else, and even if I wasn't those things, I want that game on the schedule. It's been fine that they haven't been there per se, but it's a hole in the schedule. I mean, it's a genuine hole in the schedule, in my opinion. So
at the end of the day, it's a border state.
It's the only one you got, and it's your only. Yes. I mean, Georgia's got a bunch of border rivals. South Carolina has one.
Right, Georgia.
That's it. And that's it. Now, if North Carolina one day moves into the SEC, all right, cool.
Different. I think that it would be cool, because again, I think talking to as many Gamecock fans as I have, they want Georgia. It's a border state. If Georgia has Auburn, Georgia has Florida.
You can have Tennessee or South Carolina and have a border team, right?
Right. I mean, it feels like it's Tennessee or South Carolina. I don't think it would be Kentucky.
But again, where does the competitive
Well, that's the problem with this, too. Florida hasn't been what Florida has been.
And that could...
And neither's Auburn.
That could mean something.
So does that now give South Carolina a better chance, because Florida and Auburn aren't what they used to be?
I don't know. I have no idea how they're going to do. And by the way, if you're wondering, Seth Emerson today, there's no firm date, but the feeling is that we won't know the permanent opponents until December. That they'd like this football season to be played out. So you'll probably find out sometime after the SEC championship.
You know what we got to go back and do, because it's been a couple years. Because remember, you and I were doing the halftime show when all this started. Remember, it feels like 20 years ago when all this 9-game schedule thing was percolating. Remember, everyone thought it was going to happen a couple years ago.
It's been discussed for 5 or 6 years.
Greg Sankey was very confident.
Yeah.
And then remember, Sankey was sort of thrown off that he didn't get it, because usually Sankey can work the room, right?
Yeah.
And all those 9-game schedule models were out. Everybody had one. I'm going to go back and dig those up and see what they said. It's been a few years now, but I'm going to go look at them.
There's been a couple that have been thrown out today, and Seth put his out. For what it's worth, Seth Emerson, who's covered the Gamecocks and the Bulldogs and now covers the entire conference, does have Carolina, Georgia. So he's got Auburn,
does he have
Florida.
Carolina, Kentucky?
Gosh, I can't even
remember
Kentucky,
Carolina, Georgia.
I can't remember his Carolina, to be honest with you. I just remember he had Georgia with Auburn, Florida, Carolina. I'll go back and look. All right, David Cloninger on the other side. DC broke the Nike news yesterday. He was at the Board of Trustees meeting today. Just how big is this for the Gamecocks? Get a few football thoughts from David as well. He will join us when the postgame show returns. Cato's Power Equipment ready to help you make sure that your yard looks fantastic all year long. So much rain these days, lots of stuff growing, and that means that eventually when you get a chance, you're going to need to trim some of that back. And if it's time for a brand new lawnmower, edger, hedge trimmer, saws of any variety, they've got all that for you right now. Do it for a living, same thing, but they've got it in commercial grade, obviously. Love the things you have, need to get them serviced, maybe been cutting a little too much and those blades aren't getting it done on the lawnmower or whatever else. hey, get it into the service department. They'll get you in and out real quick and back to doing what you like to do. I'm telling you, it's like going to a tailor for your clothes. Ben, Matt, the whole crew fit you into the perfect power tools to help you do exactly what you need to do all the time. Whether you do it for yourself, whether you do it for a living, see Catos for great sales, service, and advice. I love what they've done for me. I think you will too. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard, always online, CatosPowerEquipment.com. Welcome back into the postgame show on this Friday. Jay and Terry with you. Terry got to shoot the golf gun today, or did you?
I shot the golf gun multiple times today,
nice.
sir.
All right. Do you have any beer?
Some golf gun, huh?
Do you have any beer and shoot the golf gun?
I can't drink beer. I got to come to work.
Ha, liar.
I would never drink beer and come to work, Jay. That's unprofessional.
I agree.
Our program director, oh, my God, that man would give me hell.
He would. Well, if you do it right, you can just ignore him.
Yeah, I try to. Trust me.
Our good friend David Cloninger would never ignore his boss.
Never. Not David Cloninger.
He is fresh out of the Board of Trustees meeting earlier today. Yesterday, David broke the news that South Carolina and Nike would be signing a 10-year agreement for apparel beginning next school year. Board made it official today. DC, always good to have you, obviously. How big a deal is this? Not just financially how big a deal, but, even beyond that in terms of the scope of what it means for Carolina.
Well, Jay, it's always big when you get a signature brand like Nike behind your school. Not that Under Armour didn't treat USC well. They did. It was a 19-year relationship. They paid them well. I can say that, there might have been some grumbling from the athletes over the shoes at times, but they fixed that. And I can honestly say they never trotted them out there looking ugly. They always had a good-looking uniform. So that was a good thing to have. But, the fact is that Under Armour seems to be kind of going one way and USC wanted to go another. And as Jeremiah Donati said, Nike was the only company we reached out to. And when they made an offer to us, Under Armour had the right of first refusal, and they declined to match Nike's offer. So it was a simple case of like, hey, we had a great time. We loved it, but it's time for us to move on, and we're going to move on. So now you got the world's most recognizable brand behind your athletic teams.
So how much of this, David, do we know yet? And I know you got to – so I want you to share, the brief comments that Jeremiah made to some of you guys that were down there this morning. But how much of this goes beyond – the outfitting of athletes and certainly fan gear as well and into the NIL space?
Well, that was a specific question posed by the magnificent John Whittle of the Big Spur, great friend of mine in our program. And Jeremiah Donati said, I can't say much about it right now just because they're not officially a Nike school. They got to wait until, next July to really be that. But he did say, we're happy with the deal we got, and our kids will be taken care of. So from that, I think you can assume that there will be some NIL shares. And when you look at the fine print of the contract, there's so much in there about Aja Wilson and her brand ambassadorship from Nike. I think that, it's very, very safe to assume that NIL will be helped to some point, to which point I can't say.
Hey, David, obviously, and you brought this up, that Under Armour had a right of first refusal on the deal, and obviously they said, no, you guys go do your thing. We're not going to match it. Now, is that just the idea that both sides knew they were going to part company and go different ways because of just the circumstances of both sides? Is there anything more to it, or is it just that simple?
Just from what I've been told, I don't really know Under Armour's financials. It certainly seems to me that they're moving away from maybe backing whole colleges and just sticking with Notre Dame as kind of their main team, and then veering more into the professional athletic, world. Nick Emmanwori was one of a handful of NFL guys they picked to sign with Under Armour as they get started in their rookie years in the NFL. So that's what it looks like to me, is they're just kind of backing away from dressing a lot of colleges. And, maybe the writing was kind of on the wall like, well, maybe Under Armour could give you more money, but can they give you the brand sponsorship, the potential NIL earnings that Nike could? And then there is the case of I'm sure USC, Jeremiah Donati being a businessman, he can read the stock reports like everyone else. Right. And Under Armour stock isn't doing great right now. So even if they got some kind of guarantee, like, hey, we're going to sign with you, and, if something happens, we'll be taken care of. How are you going to be taken care of if the company goes bankrupt,
Right.
So I think if they looked at all avenues and said, something, Nike is the best fit for USC, and USC is the best fit for Nike.
Talking to David Cloninger, again, broke the news yesterday that Carolina and Nike would be partnering up again. This begins next school year, officially a little bit before that. Next July is when the official date comes around. DC, we'll talk more about this as we get more on it, but let me switch gears with you because we also had another major story yesterday, and that is the Southeastern Conference presidents and chancellors officially moving to add a 9th conference football game starting next year, and what this is going to mean for Carolina. Shane Beamer had some interesting comments last night that he's shared with us here on this show before and to others, of course, in the media about, hey, we want to be as competitive as possible as long as everybody else is on the same basic page. What is your gut right now, on who you think Carolina will see as permanent opponents, and then I'll follow up with you.
Well, that's the one thing, Jay. I mean, who knows? Because the predictions and the guesses that are going out there, they're just all over the place. I mean, the fact is, guys, USC's been in this league for 34 years. And can you really say that they have a traditional rivalry with anyone, as in a rivalry that goes back and forth a lot, not really one-sided? I really can't, not compared to the other teams in the SEC. So it may be just a complete random draw, because when you don't have any traditional games to build in, you're left holding the table scraps. And that's kind of where USC is in the boat with, say, Arkansas, and teams like that. Even Oklahoma and Texas have got a leg up on that because they used to play each other for so many years when they were in the Big 12. But it would be hard for me, Jay, to think that Georgia will not be one of those permanent opponents. That's the team they've played the most other than Clemson in their entire history. And then if you look back at the OSCC East days, you say, well, Florida and Tennessee were always on there, and Missouri kind of became a thing there when they wanted to do the Mayor's Cup, which is pretty much useless, but people like to credit it. So, okay, whatever, it's a trophy game. But to me, I really don't have any idea outside of it would stun me if Georgia was not on that list. And I think, like everybody in the SEC, South Carolina is hoping, come on, put Vanderbilt on there. Come on, put Vandy on there. That'll be a great, great thing if you can play Vanderbilt every year.
Yeah, I got a hunch it's not, but that's just it. I chose, for what it's worth, David, I chose on Twitter today, because I've asked the audience to weigh in, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee. But I think Tennessee is a real long shot. And I said, if it's not UT, give me Missouri. Because I like you said, I think Kentucky and Missouri have at least become – things for Carolina. They may not be rivalries in the traditional sense like Clemson, but they have become pretty good games.
Let's throw this to the new commissioner of the SEC, David Cloninger. Who would you give South Carolina?
Well, in terms of, looking out for South Carolina's welfare, if you're looking out there, you say, well, give them Georgia because they're so close, and then put Vandy and Kentucky on there. Now, are they going to get that lucky? No, they will not. I'm thinking it will be, I agree with Jay, that it'll probably be Kentucky and a Florida, just because Tennessee, with other built-in rivalries, they got to play Alabama, they got to play Vanderbilt. I just don't know if there's going to be room to add another team like South Carolina.
Yeah, I think Tennessee would like to play Kentucky as well. So that but again, is that
now,
balanced
Kentucky
enough?
would like to play Tennessee. To be fair,
they would.
Yeah, Kentucky likes that.
And they go.
Game.
They go way back. They go, and David's got Kentucky folk in the family, so he knows they don't like Tennessee.
I'll leave it at that.
I just like to chuckle.
I'm no great fan of them either,
Before we let you go, real quick, about a minute left here. Final weekend of camp, and then we start for Virginia Tech prep. What's the mood around the ball club?
I think they're really good. Knock wood, they've come out relatively healthy. That's a good thing to have. The best depth they've ever had under Shane Beamer is really helping them in that regard. I think just the looming question is listen, if you don't have an answer by this day, do you have to look at another option for Rasul Faison? Because you don't want to be going down there an hour before kickoff and trying to find out if the kid's eligible or not. I think there has to be a day before that day comes, a Wednesday or a Thursday, even Friday next week, where we say, look, okay, what's the answer? Because if you're going to go a legal route, you're going to have to file it by the end of day Friday.
Yeah.
So you got to get something just to make sure that maybe you can get an answer here, because it's bordering on absurd right now that it's taken this long.
Day 227 of the Rasul Faison Watch. He is David Cloninger. Great work yesterday breaking that story. You're always on top of things. Safe travels this weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you, Bob.
No worries. Got to get one every now and then. Right?
You did well, my man. You
nice
did
work,
well.
Man.
DCP&C on Twitter, postandcourier.com. And again, when you check out David on the website, you can sign up for his Gamecock newsletter. A lot of good additional stuff in there for fans to enjoy. All right, we'll update our poll question. We'll update our ask on the permanent opponents. Terry opens the vault. We got a busy Friday rolling at you.
A lot going on, man.
All right, welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you here on this Friday. Thanks again to David Cloninger for joining us. Sorry, I'm not distracted. I am quite literally looking on Twitter right now and trying to tally up the latest of you that have responded to us on who you'd like to see for Carolina's 3 permanent opponents once the SEC goes to 9 games. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 schools have gotten at least a vote. The schools that have gotten
really
vote are Arkansas, Alabama, Texas, and LSU. Arkansas could potentially be one. I doubt it.
I hope not. No offense, Arkansas.
Well, that's who, that was Carolina's. That was one of Carolina's permanents from the because they came into the league together.
Same time, right?
So that's the only reason that I would say they could. Alabama, Texas, and LSU will not. But hey, I'm just asking y'all's choices. Georgia is pretty far out front right now. With the latest round of folks that weighed in, Vanderbilt is now directly tied with Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah. And then Florida, then Tennessee. I thought Missouri might be a little higher.
I thought Tennessee would be higher.
So what does that technically put Tennessee in 5th? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, again, here's what I'm going to do. When we're done today, I'm submitting this to the commissioner, and I expect whatever the results are to be who Carolina plays.
Oh, he better.
I mean, why wouldn't he?
I mean, with a scientific Twitter X poll?
Right.
Come on, man.
So, hey, this isn't even a poll. This is like straight up just this is what people want.
Right.
Now, I do have a Twitter poll running today, though. So glad you asked.
Now, I'm always here, man.
But I have to go all the way down to find it again. Here's the poll, because this is it's tied to what I'm asking you, but different, because this goes to the non-con. In 2027, next year it should be fine. Carolina, from what I understand, only has 3 current non-conference games scheduled. So adding a 9th conference game won't be a problem. But in 2027, the Gamecocks have 4 non-cons. With the new 9-game schedule, one will have to be dropped. Which one of these would you choose? And they are in alphabetical order: Appalachian State, Clemson, Furman, or at Miami. The other 3 are here in Columbia. As we speak, it is very tight between at Miami, which is out front at 33 1/3. So exactly 1/3 of you have voted for that one. 32.5% Furman. 30% Appalachian State. And believe it or not, again, I don't know how much snark is involved, but Clemson at 4.2.
That's 4.0 more than I thought.
Yeah, Clemson, I'm just going to, it's not going to be Clemson.
No.
But if you want to vote for it, that's fine. And again, I thought about not putting it on, but I was just like, let me just see. Just, again, what kind of people are out there.
I think, I don't know. I'm just guessing. A good amount of them, there's snark involved.
Let's see. I have some comments on this. Michael says, Furman, play big schools. I can get behind that. Corey says, looking at it from a big picture perspective, it has to be Furman. This is the way the league is and should be heading. The leagues and teams are going to need to distinguish themselves from each other through competition. Every game on the schedule should be a power program. Corey, you have just been hired as my #1 college scheduling advisor. Well done.
Nice job.
Although Michael said the same thing in a more succinct way.
Yes.
Play big schools.
Play big schools.
Steven says, I hate to say it, but Furman has to go. And finally, Pops Frisbee weighed in and says, although I would love to see it, the game at Miami has to go. Now, here's the thing on that one, Pops, and there's no wrong answers here. Well, Clemson's the wrong answer because it's not going to happen. But beyond that, if at Miami goes, then sadly, you know what that means, Terry?
Yeah.
It means they don't come here next year.
No, you don't get that home.
You don't get to do both.
And look, I get that idea where Pops is going with the idea. Look, you're already playing 10 now with Clemson.
Right.
Then you're going to go to 11, and Miami is going to be most likely a ranked team. So now you're dealing with a ranked team in Miami, a ranked team in Clemson, and then a 9-game SEC schedule. I
Right.
get where Pop's going.
Yeah.
Let's see where it's going.
And App State's no chump.
Oh, no, they have that new head coach.
I mean, they like football.
They used to be really good at it.
So we'll see. But anyway, hit us up at jphillips1075 to do that. And again, who do you want to see Carolina's permanent opponents be? Georgia, the leader in the clubhouse. We'll do that for you. Langston coming up in a bit. We will get to the vault.
Yep.
I promise. And a whole lot more. Again, a very busy Friday rolling on. 4 o'clock here on a Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. It's the Postgame Show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you from the Herndon Chevy Studios. Thanks again to Rock and the crew, Mason, everybody over at Charwood. Good turnout today. Good to see a lot of you guys out there.
It was a good time. Our folks at Kreger Showroom sponsoring that baby for us. They gave away a dishwasher.
Yeah, did somebody see what they should have done? And I kid, sort of. They should have, because they had a dishwasher today that was closest to the whole competition.
Yep.
They should have put the dishwasher on the green.
That would have been cool.
And you open the door of the dishwasher.
And if you get it in.
Get the ball in the dishwasher, you win. Because that's closest.
Like that.
That's not just closest to the hole, my man.
No, that's in the hole.
That's in the dishwasher.
You know what they were doing that was cool? They had a little thing where you could chip a marshmallow in a toilet seat and you won a sleeve of golf balls. Massively cool. You know what Nikki told me? Nikki said 14 people had successfully chipped a marshmallow into the toilet seat.
Oh, I'm assuming a jumbo marshmallow?
Yeah, yeah. Jumbo marshmallow.
Not one of those little...
No, a little teeny...
Not the little hot chocolate kind.
No, a jumbo s'mores type marshmallow.
Okay. I would have done that. I wish I had known.
Hey, we got a guy on video, just missed it. And then we mocked him horribly.
But I guess you probably should not have had the dishwasher on the green, because... people are hitting it
and
with
it's bouncing
balls.
off. You might have golf ball sized dents in the dishwasher.
Like, where'd you get your dishwasher?
Yeah, dude, that's a piece of crap. Now, I thought about this. I'll throw this by you. Nikki wasn't really down with this idea for some reason. Next year, instead of the toilet seat cover, how about a real toilet with someone sitting on it?
Well, I saw her too, and I said, well, Nikki, why don't you just stand on the green and see what happens? She didn't like that either. No, she
Look,
didn't.
we're trying.
I was just, we have thoughts.
We're trying. We're workshopping.
Spitballing.
We're workshopping.
See what sticks.
See what goes.
She did not feel like standing there waiting for a golf ball to hit her.
For some reason, I don't know why she would frown upon that. I've got no idea. We thank Nikki, Graham, the crew. They had a nice setup there on 8.
I got to see Graham. Graham asked, my wife and I have bought a couple of things from the Kreger showrooms. And again, my wife kind of laments the fact that she didn't go there when we remodeled our house 8 years ago, because the way our contractor had some arrangements with others, and that's how that works. And we understand. But when she went down there to get we got a dishwasher from them, and when she went in there, she was like, it's kind of like when like guys like you and me used to go to Circuit City.
Right.
or when Best Buy opened.
Right. Or
like when Best Buy first opened in Columbia, man, I was like, can I just camp out here for a bit?
I want to play with everything in here.
Yeah.
Or when you were 14 and you saw the posters in the back of Spencer's for the first time.
I don't know what you're talking about. I did not buy my Kelly Smith poster at Spencer's.
I wouldn't know anything about those Catherine Bach posters.
Nope.
At all.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Linda Carter.
No.
As Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Good times. Let's move on, Terry.
Hey, Jay, so what sports are we talking about?
Let's move on. But, no, thanks to everybody out there.
Seriously, good times.
And let me, again, I mentioned it earlier, but she does deserve so much credit. But our promotions director, Jeannie Jackson, I think she got up at like 3.
Seriously, man, I'm not kidding. She was working. I won't lie to you. I was getting emails from her around midnight, right? 12:30. And then I'm getting emails from her at 5 a.m. Right. She calls me. I'm not going to lie to you. She calls me about 5:20, and she's almost there, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, Terry, it's raining. I'm like, no, it's raining.
Yeah, man.
And she was giving me weather updates.
Well, when did I text you? Like 7:30?
Yeah.
Because at my house, now I live about 15 miles. But at my house, at 7:30, and I waited for a little bit to call you. I was like, maybe it'll taper off.
Right.
And then when it got heavier at my house, then I was like, hey, they still playing?
You know what was weird?
Because I saw the radar, and I could see that definitely that part of Lexington County was getting hit.
What was weird was when you texted me, it was fine there. It was almost like if it was raining here, it wasn't raining there. If it was raining there, it wasn't raining here. It was really kind of bizarre weather thing today.
But it came down for a bit.
For a while. And look, we had a bunch of people, had a great time. Rock and the crew were always great for us, and Daniel, and obviously, like I said, the Kreger showroom. And again, Jeannie just kills herself, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
she did great.
she's never stopped. She doesn't stop moving.
No.
At that thing. If you ever watch her, she's constant motion.
Well, I didn't know where she was. That's why I got her 2 rounds of applause today, because I thought she was standing next to us.
But the funniest part is
she kind of disappeared around.
And she went around her back. She was doing something.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, she's not over there. Where is she? I was like, oh, she's way back there. So y'all clap for her again, and everybody did. So thank you.
Phenomenal job.
All right. Our buddy John hits us real quick, by the way, and says, on what planet does a game in Week 2 or Week 11 against Furman move the needle of fan interest? Taking them off the schedule would allow the players and coaches to leave the field of every game screaming, "Are you not entertained?" Going to the old Gladiator. Listen, I'll be careful because I can go down, John, as you know, probably is a longtime listener, and any of you who listen to me a lot, I truly, 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 and sincerely do not mean any ill will towards any FCS school, whether they be in or out of the state of South Carolina. It's just that for all practical purposes in today's college football world, those schools are 2 levels below the Southeastern Conference. And as I joke, the NFL doesn't see one of its teams go play the Toronto Argonauts in Week 5 or the Birmingham Stallions in Week 9. Okay? You need to play the people that you're directly associated with. That's my opinion. I understand fully every time I say this, but Jay, they need the money. I get it. I get it. The thing is, they subsisted without the money for a long, long time because, as I said, from like 1991 until like 2008, other than one exception, which I always explain, South Carolina didn't play an FCS school, not just an in-state one. They didn't play any of them. And those schools are all doing fine. The only exception was 2001. They played Wofford because the Bowling Green game was canceled because of 9/11. And Carolina and Wofford had a hole in their schedule. Carolina had a hole in theirs later in the season, and Mike Ayers brought the Terriers down from Spartanburg, and Carolina played them that year. That's the only exception for a near, not 20 years, but close to 20 years. I only say that to illustrate people, we've always done it. No, you haven't. But beyond that, I'm with you, John. These games no longer, as he says, move the needle. Your television partners don't want you to have them. You have thousands of empty seats in your ballpark when you play them. And I'd love to see Furman and State and Wofford and Citadel become the opponents in spring for Carolina and Clemson and pay them $250,000.
Yes, and that's perfect.
And if you don't make $250,000 that day, fine.
I mean, look.
You've got Clemson, Carolina, you've got the money to give them that every year to help their athletics department
scratching
along.
That check or sending that Venmo or whatever, with the tagline for
sports gambling.
For sports gambling. That's where you do this. I always take it from this perspective of in today's world, those games in the purpose of what you're looking at with TV ratings and attendance, and you want to let's go by the dollars real quick, Jay, and let's forget TV. We talked about TV the other day about this. How about you're trying to squeeze every penny you can to make money as an athletic department? What's going to bring you more attendance, a home and home with Miami or a game against Furman?
Right, yeah, it's a no. It's just not even. This is going to sound callous. I don't intend it to. It's not even a debate worth having.
No, it's just not right now. And things change and evolve, and sometimes, unfortunately, there's collateral damage in that.
Right.
And these type of games, which used to be played, play the small school in here, and we're going to win 100-6. You can see all the guys play, and you can come out. It'll be cheaper than the other games, and all those things that were, a positive to it do not outweigh the huge negatives now that go to those games. It just doesn't. You don't get the attendance. You don't get the TV ratings, the things that matter because
you're not selling hot dogs and beers and sodas and T-shirts.
Like it or not, this is a business.
Yeah.
And you've got to enhance every revenue stream.
You've got to maximize every single thing you can.
Everything.
Yeah, and I know what some of you will also say. Well, if you play Miami, you might lose. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You might.
Or you might win. Guess what?
That's all I can say, and I have nothing else to say beyond that.
Yeah, I just think that, and plus, hopefully, if South Carolina can stack 2 excellent seasons and maybe get the college football playoff this year, do damage, whatever the case, maybe a fan base who feels that way because of some past history will start getting a little bit puffy chest and not be scared of those games and start going, You know what? We're a pretty bleeping good program.
Right.
Play these cats. Let's go, man.
I agree.
And I hope that's where it gets, because some of this is from the idea that you don't think you're good enough.
But I'd love to see, to follow up on this, one more quick thing. I'd love to see some type of conference initiative or Power Four initiative even.
Oh, I would like to see it
that would
through the
ultimately
Power Four.
say, you know what, guys, seriously, we're not going to do this.
I want to play Shane's cut today about discussing this when Carolina calls last night.
Yeah.
And then we can piggyback that with some thoughts. I think this needs to become a Power Four initiative. You got to start going down the same road when it goes regarding scheduling as the four.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen now.
I would love, I've told you, give me 9 conference games, give me Clemson every year from the ACC, and then give me, for Carolina's specific purpose, but in a more general sense, everybody should play 1 from the ACC, 1 from the Big 12, 1 from the Big 10. If you're an SEC school, and accommodate accordingly as best you can. And if there's a few select others that maybe they have a grade, Terry, Memphis, Tulane, Boise, Tulsa, San Diego
by the
State.
way, they're not cupcakes either.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. If they've got like a number that you could, again, using these metrics, if you could find a number.
How about a quad?
Something. Yeah, I don't know. And there's ways. But again, like even right now, like God bless you, Charlotte. You're in the FBS. Why?
No.
Only so you can get like 4 homecoming checks a year.
I was going to say, so you can make money.
Yeah.
To help your athletic department and your school, and that's really what you're doing.
You don't.
It's like Division I college basketball. Should there be 330 Division I college basketball teams?
No.
Of course not.
No.
But all these folks said, guess what? We want to jump on the money train. We want to be able to get into a conference, get Division I money, maybe make the NCAA tournament, really get some money, and we want to take advantage of everything we could get. So let's move up. Let's go find a league that can get us an automatic bid to the NCAA.
I'll be curious, and again, we won't know until games are played and won and lost. But this new component of strength of record and those kind of things that are going to be further put into the college football playoff discussion, will it be almost an equal if let's take Carolina, Miami. Let's say Carolina loses to Miami next year, but also beats Wofford. What's the committee look at? You go, well, you beat Wofford.
How about this? You beat Wofford 60-6. You lose to Miami 31-30.
Yeah, I mean, are they? Which one dings you? Like, because they're basically the point I make is you might say, well, Jay, one's a win, one's a loss. But this new component, they've told us they're going to not hit you as hard when you play a quality team and lose. And again, how did you lose? That's one of my favorite questions in sports. Tell me how you lost.
Okay.
But the next one, again, okay, so you beat a cupcake. You were supposed to beat the cupcake.
Want me to give you a great example of this that we just saw? Boise State made the college football playoff. The most impressive game they played that the committee looked at was a loss at Oregon. When they should have beat Oregon.
Yeah.
They had Oregon beat. And
Jeanty went nuts on him.
And Jeanty, he's still running up and down the field in Eugene. And that game got Boise State in the playoff. It was a loss.
Yeah.
At Oregon. They were so good against the Ducks. That was more impressive than any win they pulled in the Mountain West.
Well, remember, and I know it's not the same thing, but to your point about basketball, remember when Brad Stevens was at Butler and he called Coach K, and that was one of the stories like, hey, Coach, can we just come play you in Durham? That's all we're asking.
Yeah.
Win, Luke, can we just come play you in Durham? Coach K was like, yeah, sure. We'll play you.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to return.
No.
They just wanted, but
it lifts you.
Yeah.
It lifts you, and that's really what you're looking
Playing
for.
good teams matters whether you win or lose, and that's what the new component's going to do. All right, Langston on the other side. We'll get into his thoughts on the Gamecocks as the final few days of camp wind down and game prep for Virginia Tech heats up. Get into a few NFL things, too. Our good friend Langston Moore, the former Gamecock, when the postgame show returns. 19 minutes after 4 o'clock here on a Friday. Welcome back in. It's Jay and Terry, the postgame show. Our good friend Langston Moore on the guest line. We'll talk Gamecocks. We'll talk a little NFL. We'll get Langston's take. Put him on the spot. Who does he want to see Carolina's 3 permanent opponents be? He had permanent opponents when he played at South Carolina.
Can I tell you something between you and I?
Sure, he's not listening.
No one's listening.
Right.
You can't put someone on the spot if you warn them you're going to put them on the spot. So you didn't kind of put him on the spot.
Well, then I'll just ask him something else to put him on the spot.
Tell you what, come up with something he doesn't know about. That would be putting him on the spot.
Okay.
Langston, how you doing, bud?
I got things. Yeah.
What's up?
See, Jay also knows my diagnosis. He knows it takes about a segment for this brain to kick in. And by the time it's the third segment, the first, you know what I'm saying? Oh, that's right. What are we talking about? What is this?
Well, true to that point, Jay, you can bring it back in the third segment.
That's right. Calling out. Be like Lou Holtz. Terry, you starting to get up there in age too. You start calling out. You be like Lou Holtz and start calling out players' names. You start calling out call stations. Wheels, 92 Flying Florence. No, this is not 1992. Not Whoa Radio back in the day. But, it takes a minute for this thing to kick on, man.
Hey, Langston, speaking of Lou real quick, Preston was telling me some Lou Holtz stuff the other day that we could never repeat on the air. That was bleeping hilarious stuff. The Lou Holtz stuff that we cannot talk about.
Hour 4 of the show.
Yes, that's a podcast.
That's the podcast. Yeah, that's the paywall podcast stuff right there.
That's right. Tune in later. But he is Langston Moore, the former Gamecock D lineman, team captain, draft pick of the Cincinnati Bengals, husband, father, softball expert, cheer dad as well, barbecue aficionado, and navigator of the back roads of Texas and South Carolina.
You forget something.
So much more. What?
Now a journalist.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true.
Now a journalist.
That's true. Big J journalism.
One for years, and I played one for years, and now I have to go out there and do it on my own without the garnet and black shield to protect me and all the. Oh, we feel sorry for Langston. He missed that tackle one time. We still misspelling words. It's all right. So now get to go out there and get these chops going, man.
And Langston, you know this. I mean, your family's been radio your whole life. No cheering in that press box, dude.
Right. You got to do it all. Write it down in your little book.
That's right.
and yell, yell in the car later.
Little subtle fist bump with somebody next to you or something like that. Camp winds down. Game week comes up. Whether it was the SEC or the NFL, where is the mind of a player right now?
Depends upon where you're at. If you're a guy trying to still kind of scrap where you're getting into the starting lineup or fight for that rotational spot, on the defense or on a wide receiver or something like that, these games are golden for you because hopefully, somebody's trying to maybe resting on their loyals a little bit or, there's just that thing called the injury bug and somebody's not available and there's going to have to be a time where we got to have to start making cuts down to this final roster. This is a golden opportunity for you. But for the rest of us, and this is why I always tell people man, how are those those final years in the NFL? And I was it was the worst years ever because I didn't believe it. I didn't trust it. Oh, you're gonna be on the 53, my man. Don't worry about I don't believe none of that. Especially when I got bills at home and all. And so not to equate college stuff, but it depended upon perspective is really interesting because if you're a starter, if you're Dylan Stewart, if you're Lenore Sellers, yes, you want your teammates and man, thank goodness we got a couple more weeks to work with this guy over here so we can get the timing down on that type of stuff. But for the most part, you're like, man, let's go, let's get this going, let's get out there, and that's what you're hoping for as a coach and as a competitor. But you take your time. You also understand as a football player, you're going to spend way more time in your football life practicing and doing all of those things than you will for the 25, 28 plays that you might have on average during the game during the season. So it's really kind of a matter of perspective at this point. I think where if you're a young guy, you're like, let me hurry up. I can steal a couple more things, or you might be like, man, let me hurry up and I can't wait till class starts because at least if there's anything, they can't make me practice during class. So at least I got that on the board, and maybe they'll give me a little bit of break in those things. So as a young guy, you got some of those little things to work out for. But if you're an older cat and the cog in the wheel of the playing football, you know that, man, this is something I know I got to get through the first week. Do my fit check, do all those things. But yes, let's get it on with this game coming up relatively quickly here.
All right, now because obviously when you were in college, it was a little different animal. You knew you were starting. You knew you were getting a lot of run. How did you weasel around some of that work in camp? What did you do? The okey doke Lou.
again, this is why I'm still a sick individual to this day. And I mean, I think it's kind of like, if you don't work, you don't eat. And it's like, we're 2 weeks away till we play Boise State, Langston. But you're not going to take this Tuesday off because there's a guy in Boise State. He's got your number. And it's just all the little mental games. And this is the benefit of being young and dumb and influenceable. And, nobody was really they were paying me still in cookies. You talk about Shane Beamer's White's cookies. Charlie Strong was, Charlie Strong had Vicky Strong making us cookies and working those in there relatively, not too much because, hey, your fat behind don't need too many cookies. I saw the way you played. But for the most part, it was still kind of old school where, the coach was still like maniacal. We're like, man, you got to get these reps. It matters. 2 weeks out, if you miss individual period, it's really – and, this is the thing as you learn older, as you get older, it's like, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. What I did 24 hours ago, making sure that, my eyes are clear, my heart is, in the right place, everything's good, I'm hydrated, let's go. But when you're young and influenceable, but that also, sets the standard for things later on in the season, meaning like, okay, we're playing Vanderbilt. Yes, this matters that, you got to go through individual when you really don't feel like doing these things. And maybe we've had the run on Kentucky these last few years, but this might be the year where, they're doing everything to save Stoops' job in that $9 million pay scale there. They're going to do everything they can. So as a young guy, it's kind of like when you're a kid, you don't always appreciate your parents for telling you to brush your teeth, but when you grow up and you got a nice set of teeth and your wife's like, got a really beautiful set of teeth. Like somebody really like, thank you. And as the older you get, the smarter your parents and your coaches get. And I think that's kind of one of those things which you get over, and that's kind of like that mental toughness thing they talk about all the time, doing what you don't want to do.
Let's go to your position, that interior defensive line, but you can take this behind you as well to the linebackers. But this year at South Carolina, one of the questions is, how do they replace what went on to the NFL? And it's a fair question, but we know there's depth. We know there is at least a level of experience in the conference. But to go back to your original answer on it depends on who you are. Let's put you in the mind of these guys that are competing. What does that feel like when there's not only the want to be a starter, to be a number one, but to maybe also have a chip on your shoulder? How do you successfully do both?
Yeah, because it kind of feels like where our defense was or is now is kind of like pivotal to kind of what it was in the 2000, making that transition. Okay, we got over the losing streak, went to the bowl game. Okay, now the next run is going, and now, the Cleveland Pinckneys of the world are gone, and then the Cecil Caldwells of the world are graduated, and then some of the older guys with the depth of there, and it's really just Kalimba Edwards doing and a bunch of young guys. So, again, I think this all kind of starts back in the offseason where, like I said, you've been kind of waiting. The guys in the wings have been, for whatever reason, they've been getting reps, but they haven't been that starter guy. So one, you got to kind of get that in your mind that when you look to the sideline, nobody's talking, ain't coming off the sideline to come save you. That's one of those things that's a very salient memory that I ever had as a starter. It's like, oh, ain't nobody coming out. I got to make a play if I'm tired, suck it up or something like that. And it's the same mindset, but also not in the sense that, oh, man, but now it's your turn. Now it's your turn to go out there and put the stamp on it, whether or not might not be as much as with maybe sacks or turnovers, but, our defense that year that Cecil and Cleve, those guys left, it was just more like a swarming defense, a lot of guys making plays, and so it was a hunger for everybody to go out there and try to make a play, and there wasn't one singular person. And I also would venture to say that probably was tough for defensive coordinators when, you got probably about, half of the defense playing above their level and their expertise that, and you don't know who these guys are because, we just only seen them in a limited capacity. So it feels like where the Carolina defense is right now with a lot of guys vacating, going to the NFL, losing some other guys, Debo Williams, some of those different guys, always hard to replace those guys. But also that's the arrogance. And I was just listening to an interview about Jeff Pearlman and Steve Wickersham, and these guys talk about quarterbacks. First of all, to play football, you got to be an arrogant dude. But, to play quarterback or just try to come and unseat somebody, the craziness it takes to take I'm going to be the person that does that. And, statistically, these things will work out. But on sports, you do it long enough, and you're like, yeah, okay. And you start to kind of see where you pick up and you start to get confidence again. So I really expect this defense this year. And again, past performance being a future predictor, since maybe a season and a half ago when we made the change from defense from more of like a hybrid deal to like a 3-3-5 deal. And obviously we took off last season with all the turnovers and different things. Until we are unseated and start doing some things uncharacteristic, I'm riding with these guys as much as they can, draft picks or no draft picks, because, again, I think the culture and the attitude of how to play the defense, regardless of who's in there personnel-wise, has been set. And I think these guys are going to try to take it to the next level.
Yeah, that's a great final part of that answer, because I think that's what Clayton has absolutely and he's got a great staff around him that's begun to really establish that. Lots more to do with Langston. We'll come back on the other side. A few more thoughts on the Gamecocks, a little bit on the NFL, and we'll pose our 2 Twitter questions to Mr. Moore as well. It's the Friday postgame show.
You know, we've been talking a bit about CHW cabinetry with Star and her crew and just all the different things they can do for you when it comes to cabinets. And we're not just limiting to the kitchen here. We're talking about wherever in the house you want to put cabinets. They might even do outdoor cabinets if you want. Like Jay Phillips might want cabinets in his grass. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how those rich falutin people live, but wherever you want to put cabinets, you check in with CHW Cabinetry. You go, okay, here's what we're thinking of doing. Here's what our idea is. What do you think? And they will, come out, or you can come to see them. Sit down there at their showroom and talk with them about what you're looking for, what your goals are. You just call 803-520-6837. Again, 803-520-6837. Wherever you want cabinets, they can do it for you at CHW Cabinetry. Give them a call, have a conversation, and watch them do their magic. Turn the mic on usually helps when you want to do this type of thing. Just giving you an example there. All right, long-term construction obviously going on. I-26, 126 rather, Hugie and I-26. I-20 and 26, Malfunction Junction. There's slowdowns in road construction all over the area, so please be careful. Take your time. Navigate your Friday. It's all going to be okay. We'll get you caught up also on some of the traffic issues when it comes to accidents as well in the area. There's an accident reported Decker Boulevard, Personal Road in Richland, also Hardin Street and Gervais, and I-20 before Fairfield Road and Exit 70. More with Langston on the postgame show coming up.
Welcome back in. Post-game show rolling on here on this Friday. Jay and Terry, our good friend Langston Moore, hanging out with us for a few more minutes. And top of the hour, we'll have our headlines, 5:15 Gamecock Notebook, including some comments from Coach Beamer as we get closer and closer to the start of the football season. Just, 9 days? 10 days away? 9 days? I don't know.
9 days, sir.
9 sounds good. I don't know. I don't do math. It's next Sunday. How's that? And, of course, with Langston, don't forget that you can get to see Langston and Coach P, our own Preston Thorne, at a school or other speaking engagement near you. Log on to athletesandartists.net, and there you will find all the information on how you can schedule a meeting and a get-together, or everything on the Just a Chicken series of books. That's Just a Chicken Little, Used to Was a Rooster, the Butt and Gut podcast, the Fight podcast, about the Carolina-Clemson game, which is now a long time ago, man, 21 seasons ago. All that and more, athletesandartists.net. And, of course, the great Kev Roche featured heavily as well. And, of course, Kev's the guy that you see on Sunday Night Baseball and all the other artistry that he has on ESPN.
Had him in here a couple years ago.
Well, yeah,
get him back.
and he's well. Again, Langston has said, Kev, that like picture of Bigfoot, like with the guy like way across a lake, and you're like, oh, there's Bigfoot. That's Kev. He's he's the elusive.
Well, to
Kev
be fair,
Roche.
I see Bigfoot a lot now doing commercials for Jack Link's Beef
Not the same guy. Not the same guy.
That's not the same Bigfoot.
No, this is an actual elusive person, and that is Kev Roche.
Wait a minute, that Bigfoot on the commercials isn't a Bigfoot?
That's just a guy in a suit.
That's not a big feet?
Nope. Just a guy in a suit. Yep.
Langston, help me here.
Yeah, you would think you'd see the guy out there getting like art supplies or something like that, but that's the benefit. Like you'd see him at the paint store,
Amazon,
Hobby Lobby, somewhere. I think that's what it is between the digital uptick of creatives and Amazon. I think this guy has to leave his house. So, like we tell kids, man, Kev started off drawing a certain animal, a feline animal when he was younger. We met his teacher. She told us the story. That's why you always have to be good kids in school, because teachers don't ever forget when you used to pick your nose and like rub it on your shirt. They see you back there. They see you back there trying to eat the gum up off underneath the desk. I mean, yes, maybe that's why your immune system is so great. But
that's right.
Teachers never forget this type of stuff, man. So just be careful. But there's always hope, man. With practice and a lot of time, there's hope. You too may be on ESPN drawing for Sunday Night Baseball. Probably not, but he's really
just
good.
Thinking of Ralph Wiggum on the Simpsons. Miss Hoover, I ate my paste.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of, Jay.
Very good, Ralph. That's all. Miss Hoover always just huffs at Ralph. All right, so I got two Twitter things running, Mr. Moore, so you get to answer. First off, whether I put you on the spot or not, as you heard yesterday, the SEC is going to go to 9 conference football games starting next year. Now, you guys had Arkansas and Mississippi State, I believe, as permanent opponents when you were in the SEC. So who would you like to see as a permanent opponent now in conference play starting next year? Who should Carolina's 3 permanent opponents be?
Yeah, Mississippi State, you get that out of here. Jolie Dunn, all that's not even entertaining to us anymore. And if we go down there and have the chance to lose to a team like that, I'll be sick to my stomach for a whole season. So, and again, we don't do East-West anymore. It's one homogenized SEC, grits capital, whatever. So I'm still thinking of like West Coast. I still feel like Arkansas for me, just because of like, with the Lou tie-ins and just all the other, just all of that, just catching the last kind of bastion of all the stuff that they had out here in Texas when it was its own conference in its own right. I really kind of like that. But if I had to pick 3, it'd probably be Florida, Georgia. Oh, man. And it's probably be a toss-up between Kentucky and Tennessee. Again, something about Kentucky, I don't know, just because I got some family from that little Appalachian area, so we just always, just want to stick it back to them. But Tennessee always, just because for years, we forgot that they had a pipeline, and the reason why they won the national championship because half of the damn team was from Rock Hill, South Carolina, before we figured out that. And then they also had a dude from Dillon who was a phenomenal defensive line coach. My high school coach was coached by this dude at the University of Tennessee. So I've always, Coach Chavis, just always that pipeline of South Carolina guys and just always something there. And then it didn't really help when I was up there with Coach Spurrier and the Gamecocks and just, Pig Howard and dudes like that make it like this.
Pig Howard.
We can never, I mean, I wish we could all be Nashawn Goddard and recover the fumble in the end zone and beat Tennessee up there at Tennessee. But nah, man, I think so. If I had to be pinned down, it'd probably be Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. But as Preston Thorne said so eloquently on the radio show early this morning, we might consider these folks our rivals, but I don't think they consider us their rivals.
No, they don't, man.
In the pecking order.
They don't. And I've said before, and this is not to disparage the University of South Carolina, where I have been going to games since Richard Nixon was president, and went to school and met my wife. But Georgia, at best, sees Carolina as its fourth most important rival in the SEC.
It makes sense.
You're right. Right, and can do without playing us.
Yeah, and when we, I say I'm not supposed to say we, but when South Carolina beats Georgia people, I mean, they're mortified because it's just not supposed to happen. Again, I think back, Langston, to that game y'all won in 01. There's an image etched in my brain of a girl sitting about 2 rows back after Brian makes that catch, and she's like, somebody, like, no pun intended here, somebody just ran over my dog right in front of me. Like, that's what she looks like, It's like a terrible.
This isn't supposed to happen.
No, like this was, I was told we were going to win, and then we didn't. So there's that part of it. Yeah, I chose, for what it's worth, Langston, I chose Georgia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. I don't think Carolina's going to get Tennessee.
Yeah.
But and so then give me Missouri instead. I think the Kentucky and Missouri games have become things, but I'll just be really disappointed if Carolina doesn't get Georgia.
I'll say this. I definitely think Kentucky will be one of the three.
Yeah.
I just think it works for Kentucky. It works for South Carolina. I think Kentucky will be one of the three. Yeah.
And then real quick, Langston, I also got in 27, Carolina has 4 non-cons already scheduled. Next year they only have 3, so it shouldn't be a problem. But one of them is Miami coming here next season. But in 27, you got App State, Clemson, and Furman in Columbia. At Miami is the other non-con. One of those has to get dropped. Which one should get dropped? Knowing one of them won't get dropped.
I'd probably say App State because, last time they kind of came in around, there was Dorkowitz, and he was before he came out there, and it inspired us so much we had to write another book about these type of things. So maybe get App State out of here. We always respect Furman and what they do, but, I mean, I would like to see Carolina go down to play at Miami, and having obviously them coming up there to Williams-Brice will be a great, great deal too.
Can't cancel the one in 27 unless you cancel the one in 26.
So that makes it kind of a tough deal. So I think we're kind of committed to that. So maybe watch out Furman, App State. I don't know, the fighting ex-Gamecock offensive coordinators got to have to take a back seat and go somewhere else that week.
All right. So have you seen? By the way, have you seen this documentary on the Cowboys yet from the 90s?
I haven't. I'm trying to let it build up a little bit, and like I was talking about, Jeff Pearlman, always a fan of his work, and just so now I heard an interview with him, and he was like, I don't know if it's, they skimmed over a bunch of parts, like the Charles Haley part and the Michael Irvin, putting the shank to somebody's neck part, and just a lot of just
I'm gonna
stuff
tell you,
that, like,
guys, you could do a 30 for 30 on the Charles Haley stuff itself. Charles Haley, oh my God.
Yeah, not a great human
scary
being.
Individual. They need to lock this man up, and I think he's reformed as much as you can be reformed. But like, I have heard stories, and thank God. I play with some psychos. And, maybe myself a psycho adjacent, but like, I could not have played with
Langston.
And then what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Fight him?
Dude, you might have been a psycho, but that stuff Haley was doing, even psychos are scared of Haley.
Psychos are like, dang.
I'm just saying. That's like, man, it's like what's a monster to a real monster walk into a room. That's exactly what that was. It's like, oh man, I can smell it. I can smell it on him, man. Let me get my stuff and get up out of here.
Always good to have you. Safe travels this week, and we'll see. You will be coming by the studio at some point soon enough, right?
Yes, man. We definitely will make sure we get out there. We just got to work on this booking agent. Preston Thorne got us working too hard between these radio gigs and these school stuff, man. Shoot, give me a break. Shoot.
That's true. That's true. We'll see what we can do for you.
Hey, we appreciate
again, he's
you,
Langston Moore. Remove the chains on Twitter. And again, athletesанdartists.net. Moms and dads and teachers, y'all get Langston and Coach P into a school engagement near you. You won't regret it. Thank you, sir. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate y'all, man. Be safe.
That's Langston. All right, we'll come back with some updated results on both the poll question and, again, we're throwing it out on Twitter, not only the poll question, but Gamecock fans, who would you like to see as Carolina's 3 permanent opponents once the SEC goes to 9 conference games next year? And you're thinking like, well, Jay, are they going to do it? If you didn't hear yesterday, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a done deal, voted upon by the presidents. And we'll probably know those opponents sometime in December. We'll update all that for you, and we'll have a little Jay or Nay on the other side. It's the postgame show. All right, welcome back in. Final few minutes of our second hour. Coming up top of the 5 headlines of the day. Get you a little bit from Shane Beamer, who was on Carolina Calls last night, and then more from Coach, some extended comments in our Gamecock notebook at 5:15. So lots more to do around Carolina football, 9 days away. Again, it's day 227 of the Rasul Faison Watch. And I will go ahead and tell you, spoiler alert, no further news last night from Shane. And nothing today from the NCAA on Rasul.
Nope, nothing. And we're getting, thank God the football isn't getting ready to start.
Well, I mean, you and I talked about it a couple weeks ago. David Cloninger mentioned it to us when he was on with us last hour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is a line. I don't know if they've walked up to it yet, but there is a line.
There's a drop-dead date.
Yeah, there is a line.
Drop-dead date for this.
And not that you're like saying, Rasul, thanks, buddy, but just, hey, Sewell, listen, Oscar and Isaiah, Juwan, these guys are our...
For this week.
Yeah.
For this week.
And Matthew.
We're kind of, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Now, again, obviously, you were hoping at some point he gets the okay, but I feel Jay will be like this every week where there's going to be okay. This is the drop dead spot where we've got to.
I would think that's got to be Tuesday.
Yeah.
I really do.
Because, I mean, once you come back in and you're starting to put in the game plan for the next week and implement everything.
I think it's Tuesday.
Yeah, and that's the way this is going to be until you get and I said that I'll say this over and over again. This thing has been weird in a lot of ways. Some of it goes in faults in different directions. But here's the bottom line to me. What's been done to this guy's eligibility for this year is atrocious.
It is. It's not good.
It's atrocious.
And we'll see. We'll see.
Well, you know what? I found, do your poll question, because I found the game show music on our little hotkey section over here.
I knew it was somewhere, which is good.
I found it last night.
So we're asking you two things. No start bench drop today. Instead, I've asked you to just give us the 3 schools you would like to become Carolina's permanent SEC opponents once the league goes to the new 9-game 3+6 format. Right now, Georgia is really well out front, which, let me just say, not that I'm here to really, pat anybody on the back, but I'm glad of that. But Georgia is well out front.
Mm-hmm.
And as we speak, Vanderbilt and Kentucky are tied in the 2nd and 3rd spots. Right behind them is Florida, and just 1 vote behind Florida, if you will, is Tennessee. And then it trails off, Terry, pretty, not significantly, but Missouri and Mississippi State are the only other schools that have multiple votes. Again, 11 schools, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 11 schools, sorry. Have gotten at least 1 vote. The 1 votes are the ones I told you earlier. So more have been added to the others. Arkansas, Alabama, Texas, LSU, 1 vote. Mississippi State has 4.
Interesting.
But beyond that, and again, there's dozens for the others. So it's a 6-horse race. But really,
yeah.
I don't think Missouri's gonna make it.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
All right, speaking of this Seth Emerson post in The Athletic where he goes over every team's 3 opponents, I'm going to give you 3 in a team. Jay or nay, you like them or not, right?
Okay.
Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, LSU.
Jay.
By the way,
probably not going to happen. That's all. That's a big
tough
ask
for Alabama.
That's a big ask.
Arkansas, Missouri, Texas, Kentucky.
Yeah, sure, Jay.
Yeah, because Arkansas just wants Texas. That's all he cares about.
But Missouri's a border game, too, but I don't I guess.
Yeah. Auburn gets Bama, Georgia, Florida.
Yeah, Jay.
Uh-huh. Because Bama and Georgia are no-brainers, right?
Sure.
Florida gets Georgia, Auburn, South Carolina.
Yeah, I'd be great playing Florida every year. So Jay, that sounds yeah. I don't have a problem with that.
Georgia, Auburn, Florida, South Carolina.
Yeah, sure. Again, see, Georgia there's only one spot that's flexible for Georgia.
Open. Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Arkansas.
I mean, sure. I don't know that I'm going to have a problem with any of these. Sure. Jay.
My thing with that one, real quick.
What was it again? Arkansas, Kentucky, or Tennessee, and who?
Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi State. You know what I feel like that one is? Okay, Kentucky, we'll give you Tennessee, but you got to take Mississippi State and Arkansas.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like we're going to throw you two teams because we need to, right?
Yeah.
You know what I feel like?
Yeah.
I'm a little nay on that because it's like...
I'm curious, who does Seth have for Mississippi State other than the Egg Bowl?
Ole Miss, Kentucky, South Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm nay on that. You be nay on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, nothing against them. I don't want to see South Carolina and Mississippi State
All
anymore.
right, Tennessee really quick. Vandy, Bama, Kentucky.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that one.
That's the J.
All right, Texas A&M gets Texas, Oklahoma, LSU. Ouch.
Yeah, see, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's a competitive imbalance.
Right. Texas gets Oklahoma, A&M, and Arkansas.
Yeah, Jay, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So does Arkansas.
And see, they only have flexible spot, only one flexible
right,
spot.
Exactly.
Texas. Yeah.
Here we go.
All right, hour 3 coming up.
We just hung out with these folks today. Kreger Showrooms, our buddies Nikki and Graham and the whole crew at the from Kreger Showroom in the Vista on Gadsden. And I mean, look, we'll just take a minute. We thank them. They were phenomenal today as sponsors and partners. We had a lot of fun. I mean, going to the hole where they were at, and the fact that Nikki had marshmallows being chipped into a toilet seat was phenomenal for prize. Also, the closest to the hole won a dishwasher. And look, if you need things done at your home, whether it's kitchen, bathroom, plumbing, it could be fixtures, lighting, wherever you're going, call the experts with over 70 years of experience at the Nest, 803-978-2025. That's 803-978-2025. Tell them your goals, your dreams, your vision, and your budget. They will get you into what you want and make you very happy. Call Kreger Showroom, formerly the Nest in the Vista. Checking the traffic. We have a few accidents on the ride home on a Friday. St. Andrews Road, Highway 60, Lake Murray Boulevard. Also St. Andrews Road at Harbison. Old Barnwell Road at Ermine. Hardin Street at Gervais. Garner's Ferry Road at Atlas Road. Decker Boulevard at Percival Road as well. Accident is getting cleared up I-20 eastbound before Fairfield Road, exit 70. Then we have our typical road construction in our typical places at our typical times that typically make us insane. We'll get back in here, 5 o'clock news from our Buds Integrated Media.
It is 5 o'clock news time here on a Friday. Welcome back in. It's the final hour of the postgame show. And once again, congratulations. You made it to 5 o'clock on a Friday along with Terry Ford. I'm Jay Phillips. We start with the big news of the day. Yes, it broke yesterday, but was made official earlier this morning. The University of South Carolina and Nike have agreed to a 10-year partnership that will take effect next July 1, 2026. Officially, Nike will be supplying all of South Carolina's athletic programs with uniforms, footwear, apparel, and equipment. Carolina currently fielding 21 varsity teams across the SEC and a little bit beyond. Said Jeremiah Donati, quote, "We are thrilled to announce the future partnership with Nike, a brand that is built on inspiring athletes to reach for excellence with the latest and most innovative equipment and attire while championing the values of athletic participation beginning in July of 26. We are excited to be joining with Nike as we look to continue to elevate our brand and compete for championships in the future. We are truly appreciative of the long partnership we have enjoyed with Under Armour since 2007. They have provided our student athletes and fans with excellent service and apparel since the onset of our relationship that have been a part of many huge Gamecock moments. A special thank you to Kevin Plank for his friendship with the University of South Carolina and his leadership in the college athletics space. We look forward to celebrating our partnership history with Under Armour in the 25-26 athletics seasons. The university's official release goes on to say that Nike-branded gear will be officially available as soon as this new deal begins. So, again, the upcoming academic and athletic year at South Carolina will still be run by Under Armour. And as we've said, Terry, on this, it's been a good relationship. I don't think this is something where things went horribly wrong or anything like that. This is a long time. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is. When you go back to 2007, and I think they've done the entire 2007, they started with football only, and then I believe 3 years later, they went to the entire athletic department. 4 years later, to see, hang on, I remember. Yeah, 2011, 2012 school year. So 4 years later, went to the entire athletic department, and they've been together ever since. So it'll be a 15-year full athletics relationship with Under Armour. That's a long time. Yeah. And maybe both sides just looking for something different. As David Cloninger told us earlier, the prevailing feeling is that Carolina and Under Armour met earlier this year and went over a few things, and South Carolina then went out and explored an opportunity with Nike. And Jeremiah Donati did say publicly today the only other apparel maker and brand that South Carolina spoke with was Nike. So there was no New Balance. No Adidas.
Interesting.
No Reebok. No Russell Athletic or anybody else.
Russell Athletic. Don't you get that at like thrift stores now?
I don't know, man. I think they still make some. Around? I think they make stuff. Yeah, I still think they make jerseys and stuff.
That got to a point. If you were wearing that, you got beat up.
Yeah, I don't know when that was. When was that? Why? What's wrong with Russell?
It became a thing that you didn't, like your parents would buy it for you. No, I can't wear that to school.
Oh, I don't.
Those. Now, did they sell tennis shoes in grocery stores here when you were young?
Not that I recall.
See, I remember when I was growing up, they used to sell tennis shoes in grocery stores like in Baltimore, and they were called fish heads. And nobody wanted their parents to buy them fish heads because you could not go to school
if you're buying,
fish heads.
Well, I think the reason is just regardless, if you're getting your sneakers at the grocery store, then...
My point is, but everybody knew they were fish heads, and you couldn't wear them to school because if you did, it wouldn't end well for you because you would be bothered and harassed and made fun of. And
I'd rather go to school barefoot, I guess.
Yes.
I don't know. No, I got all my, as you well know, I got all my sneakers at Todd Moore.
Yeah, I know you did.
So,
and sometimes you bought them, and sometimes you just carried them out. I remember those stories. Oh, that was off the air. You told me that story. I'm so sorry.
No,
but in some parts, I've lived in this country.
For one thing, you can't do that because they got the shoes are all in the back, man.
Just put them on and walk out, and leave your other one sitting there.
Sounds terrible.
Well, you're the one that told me you did it. Don't turn it on me.
Yeah. Speaking of Todd Moore, I don't know about when the line was drawn on getting beat up for wearing Russell Athletic, but as I've told you, the only time I personally, this is just me speaking for me, ever bought a Gamecock jersey because of the player was my number 2 Sterling
Debo.
Sharp that I bought when I was 16 years old.
That's right.
I was in high school. It was Sterling's senior year. And that's a Russell Athletic jersey.
Yeah, I think it was when my kids were in school. My oldest, Russell Athletic became a bad thing.
Oh,
we were in Seattle, I think, at the time.
I don't know, man.
It wasn't a good thing.
I'm sorry.
I go, hey, we'll buy you this. They're like, not Russell Athletic, Dad.
Wow, I'm
Why?
sorry.
What happened?
I never. I'm serious. I never knew. I didn't know that.
I had Russell Athletic workout shirts.
Yeah, but
when I was younger.
And again, that jersey. I mean, those. And now I got a real jersey. I mean, I was one of those, not some replica thing. So
Well,
anyway,
if you'd worn that in Seattle, you got beat up.
Well, I'm glad I didn't go to Seattle in the 80s or 90s. I guess, man. Dang, that's why that grunge thing happened. People just beat you up. You had to wear a flannel shirt.
A little early new millennium. That's probably what it was. It wasn't a flannel.
You got to
it
wear
was
a flannel shirt.
Flannel Russell Athletic,
Right.
and you were
You'd
okay.
have been fine. Sure.
Right.
Sure. But anyway, Carolina and Nike announced and approved officially this morning by the university's board of trustees. It will take place next week.
And you just tell me are you surprised they didn't talk to anybody else? After seeing Adidas making that deal with Tennessee,
here's the thing. On that particular note, I wouldn't say I'm surprised because that was just announced. So how long ago did Tennessee start talking to Adidas?
Yeah, but I'm just surprised that they.
I would imagine from everything I've gathered, Jeremiah and some of his staff have a long-standing relationship already from their time at TCU.
Yes,
and I imagine there's enough due diligence that can be done that would tell you one way or another what you're going to get paid, like what your brand value is to an apparel deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine it was probably more of a comfort level, no pun intended, with the folks that they were dealing with. So it was like, hey, if we can get this dollar amount,
what we want,
then we're in good shape.
And maybe Nike said, if we give you, we'll go with you and we're here with you. Or we have a deal?
Yeah.
And, that way maybe you go, you know what, we got a deal. It's not a criticism. I was just surprised when he said that they didn't really.
Yeah, I would, and again, we'll fight because he didn't speak long today, and we did. Let me say again too, we did ask someone from the athletics department, whomever they wanted to choose, to join us today. They told us very politely that we're not ready to go big on a media visit yet with this. So as soon as they're ready, we'd love to have them on, and we will. But yeah, I mean, I get your point. And like I said, even if you don't really sit down like in full-fledged talks and discussions and negotiations with Adidas, I imagine somebody somewhere was like, and it might have been, look, I don't know how. Listen, Adidas is a huge brand, but it's not Nike.
Oh, no.
And so I just, and again, maybe Carolina did enough, in the background to just say, I mean, it sounds like they wanted Nike, and Nike was like really good with that too.
It just feels like that was the focus of we want to go with Nike.
I don't know this yet, but David did mention this as well, and I do think this, what I'm getting ready to say, matters. Nike has a huge relationship with Asia Wilson. Nike has a huge relationship with Dawn Staley. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that two women's basketball stars alone are why South Carolina is now a Nike school or will become a Nike school next school year. But I think that kind of thing matters as you look long-term with who they are, and you can blend the rest of these things in. And as Carolina football rises up, Nike may be, and I'm again, hear me out, I'm serious when I say this, Dylan Stewart could be all over a Nike campaign in his final year at South Carolina.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And who else may emerge? Nick Harbor with track. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I'm speculating to some degree. But if I'm those folks, whomever they may be, Nike folk, Jeremiah Donati, Shane Beamer, whomever, in an effort to make sure that Dylan finishes his career here, which I think he will, but he will be pursued.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
How much does that play into it? Just little things like that.
And we don't know this. We don't know. Well, there's two parts here. One, you might have, sort of like you didn't, quote, a coach never tampered with anybody, wink, wink.
Sure.
Maybe you just got the word that, let's just use Adidas, that Adidas probably would be in this ballpark with you, maybe, sort of, whatever. Or maybe you had somebody talk to somebody who knew somebody who talked to somebody, and you just didn't get the vibe back you wanted, so you didn't even waste time with the meeting.
Right.
It could have been as simple as that.
I think that's probably part of it. Yeah.
And number two, that's the other big piece is, and we don't know it for sure yet. We haven't heard the whole thing. But at the end of the day, if you can start getting your athletes in deals with Nike, that's a huge thing, and that's a huge recruiting tool. You follow what I'm saying?
It's 100%, man. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say that the women's basketball program alone will dictate how this entire 21 team deal goes for a decade. But having that kind of notoriety as your jumping off point at a place where Asia Wilson is still regarded as the best women's basketball player on the planet,
mm-hmm.
And Dawn is doing what she does. It's just a nice built-in way to have. And again, if Jeremiah already had a working relationship with these people, and he did, it's not an if, he did have that, and others. Wesley Mallett, who just came over as Jeremiah, one of Jeremiah's lieutenants, he has a working relationship with Nike. These things all play into it in certain ways, and really just across the board, it's Nike. I mean, it's sort of speaks for itself in terms of what you're looking for. And I just think across the board, future Gamecocks, current Gamecocks, past Gamecocks, fans, everybody likes it.
There's no offense to Under Armour, but South Carolina just did themselves a step in the right direction.
Yes.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, and I think they know it, and I think this was the right way to go. So anyway, there you go. Again, officially begins July 1 of 2026. A couple of other quick things for you here in our integrated media headlines of the day. Shane Beamer speaking last night. Cut number 6 on our list, please, Terry Ford. Shane Beamer giving us, with 9 days to go, an injury report on Gamecock football.
I would say good. It's never as great as you want it to be. We've got some normal preseason camp, bumps and bruises. Hopefully you get those guys back this week and next week, because it's a little bit of a different schedule and practice model than what it is in the preseason. The only ones that would be long-term right now, and unfortunately they're all at one position, right. And that's defensive end, edge, outside linebacker. It's kind of all on the same for us. But, losing Cal Kennard, that was a position that we needed to increase the depth at. And, we've lost some guys, and George Wilson, who we brought in the transfer portal and was going to help us. Jalen Brown, who we brought in from the transfer portal to play there and was going to help us. And then Kobe Saki-Pra, who's a true freshman that really had a good summer that we were excited about. All three of those guys are in that room with Sterling Lucas, and they'll be out for a while and certainly won't be available for Virginia Tech. But the positive in that is that around Dylan, you've got Brian Thomas, who's played a lot of football for us. You have Desmond Umeozulu, who's played a lot of football for us. You've got JT Gear, who's played a lot of football for us, and then some young guys and a transfer portal guy in Demon Clowney that we've brought in. So it's not where you want it to be depth-wise at that position, but we're okay, right now. But other than that position, we're in pretty good shape as we go into the season.
So, not terrific news, but as you said there, the positives, you still heard a lot of guys that you know of at the end position. Get through the Virginia Tech game, you've got SC State, and then, a tricky game where you're going to need some quarterback rush against Diego Pavia when they come to Columbia, because listen, Carolina's going to be favored to win that game, people. Don't get me wrong. That is a huge game for Vanderbilt.
That's for Diego Pavia. He circled that one on his calendar,
That's a huge game for Vanderbilt. So, I mean, remember last year, Carolina was dominant in that game, minus basically one or two plays.
They hit Diego Pavia in every area of the human body.
And again, the touchdown he scored was impressive. But other than that, South Carolina's defense was smothering in Nashville last year. So, you got to go do that again. I'll
say this, too, really quick. And I know about with the edge, the injury issues at the edge, a name, JT Gear. Has been hurt a lot. When people forget something, he had a 5.5 sack year at Syracuse before he came here.
Yeah.
If he can stay healthy in a rotational basis regarding this depth question. If he could do what Brian Thomas did last year, give you 4.5 sacks maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's got some ability. He just can't stay healthy to stay on the field.
That's what you're working on. That's our integrated media headlines of the day. By the way, don't forget to tune in tonight to the high school football report with Elijah and Justin, brought to you by Cotman Transmission. That's at what time, Terry? 8?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Wow, even earlier than I thought.
7 to 11, man.
Man, there you go. So, all right. More from Shane coming up. You know, too often guys don't go to the doctor when they're not feeling like themselves. There could be a lot of things that are off mentally, physically, maybe even emotionally. And you're just like, man, this didn't happen when I was in my 20s or 30s. Why is it happening in my 40s and 50s? Don't wait for it to go away. And depending on the situation, don't be embarrassed to talk with someone about it. You are not alone. And at the men's clinic, you'll talk with experts in healthcare for men who are dedicated to getting you back on your feet and feeling the way you want to. 803-875-MENS. That's the phone number you call to set up that consultation. Listen, Dr. Dan Bognight and his team have been doing this for many, many years. You get a one-on-one consultation, gets to the root of the issues, and as I said, gets you back to feeling like you want to. No magic pills, no one-size-fits-all treatments. Again, medical experts ready to get you feeling the way you want to. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. 803-875-MENS, the Men's Clinic.
new players and freshmen, and you haven't covered this, afraid you forget, you make sure you cover this, all that stuff. So first games are always tough. But no, I think for us it's just continuing to stay healthy, continuing to get better over the next week and a half of practice, and continue to get these young guys that are going to be playing in their first game ever, whether it be a freshman or a transfer coming in, the first time ever putting on a Gamecock uniform, just continue to get them ready to go perform their very best.
That was Shane Beamer asking a question, or answering a question, rather. What worries you going into a new season? And some of those things that are out there. It looks a lot of the general stuff. Welcome back in. Time for our Gamecock Notebook here on the Postgame Show. Jay Phillips and Terry Ford with you. I don't know what, again, the only thing that worries me, Terry, is are they going to wear the George Rogers uniform all season? I don't have any other real concerns.
Now you want that. That's what you want, right?
I don't have any other real concerns.
Besides that, who cares?
Yeah, just everything else is gravy.
Wouldn't it be great if he answered it like that? Guys, I just care if we're going to wear the George Rogers jerseys. Besides that, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, 12-0, 0-12, somewhere in between. I don't care. Did you look good doing it? That's all I care about. Now, we've talked a lot, about defense, offense. Let's get into a little bit of special teams here. A couple of answers. Cut number 13, please, Terry Ford. Shane, on where he sees the overall unit right now.
Getting there. Certainly, we're competing right up until kickoff, but it's starting to take shape. And you're right. I mean, I don't think ever in coaching I've had that many or had new guys at all of those key positions, but they're all talented guys, kind of like the guys on offense and defense we were talking about. They're all talented guys, and I think have a chance to be really good snappers, holders, kickers, punters, punt returners, and kick returners here at Carolina. But we got to do a great job of coaches of getting those guys prepared for a game and putting them in the best position to go be successful. But like the group that we have, and it's starting to take shape.
I don't know. Listen, we've had some guests. We've heard from some of you listeners that feel like some of the ways that Shane is talking about special teams leaves something to be desired in terms of how positive they feel. I get where you're coming from, and let me play devil's advocate. I'm not disagreeing here because I don't know. I don't know how much they actually know, because this is one of the things, Terry, that you and I really honed in on this summer, but not that we wouldn't do it in the past, but it just feels like of the three phases, it's the hardest to replicate the demands and the immediate pressures of special teams. No matter what the phase of special team is, a kicker making a big field goal, a punt returner that really, hey, bud, we don't need you to fair catch this one, or whatever it might be, right? Hey, kickoff guy, I need you to coffin corner this puppy. There's just, listen, is there pressure on a 3rd and 12 for a quarterback? Sure. Is there pressure on 4th and goal for your defensive line? Sure. And all of it is replicated in certain degrees. But it does feel like there's special teams replication. Those things, the creating adversity in practice. I just don't know. Because they're literally filling every hole of special teams specialist this year.
Yeah.
And I don't think they are prepared right now, if I read between the lines the way I do, to tell us anything about anybody, because they don't want that competition to stop.
Well, I think, too, I can't remember in my lifetime covering teams or paying attention to teams where they're replacing everything on specials. I've never seen this before. Long snapper, holder, kicker, punter, return men, gunners. You're replacing everything almost on your special teams. Whoever runs and gets the kicking tee, for the love of God. Jay, they
have a dog for that? Isn't that what that's supposed to be these days?
It's supposed to be, right? They changed the new dog. Got a new dog. I've never seen this much turnover in a unit. And you don't know what guys are going to do until they go out there and kick.
Right.
Or they go out there and punt. Or like you said, return kicks. Long snappers. It's one thing to do it in camp where everybody's yelling at you and they're playing a bullhorn and they're, whatever. But it's another thing to do it for real, right?
Right.
So I think that there's so much unknown here that until these dudes try it out and do it,
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Terry's looking at me. I'm thinking like, what could really create pressure is that they actually unleashed a bunch of dogs while they're trying to kick.
Hey, you got to navigate around a bunch of dogs running at you.
Angry, hungry Rottweiler or something.
You know what?
Let's not do that.
If that ain't pressure.
Yeah, that's it. But let's not do that. Let's not do that.
You don't want to do that?
Let's go to cut number 14 to stay with this and the specific area of kick and punt returners here, Shane.
They're certainly in the mix along with some other guys, and you're right, Jalen did a nice job working as a punt returner last year along with Juju McDowell, and it's something that he wants to do. And when we looked at it after the season, myself and Joe DeCamillis, our special teams coach, we knew that we needed to be better in the return game. We did some good things covering kicks last year for the most part, but we needed to return better, and we've put a lot of work into that.
Again, what does that look like? We can only find out once you play Virginia Tech, and those things can be important. How vital is it? I suppose it depends on what your other phases look like. But if you have a difference maker, listen, we saw that. I always go back. Carolina's had a few, but I think of how crucial Ace Sanders was and how much attention had to be paid and the things that he was able to do. Because if even a couple times a year, Deebo Samuel, like I said. Deebo was a difference maker, man. I always joke, Terry, that Carolina opened that season. I forget which one it is now. Is it 18, 17? Anyway, the game they opened in Charlotte against State, and he had a kickoff return for a touchdown. And I remember coming back the next week saying, look, that was awesome, but you can't count on Deebo Samuel to have a kickoff return for a touchdown every week. And they went to Missouri for the conference opener the next week. And what did he do?
What did he do?
Yeah. And I was like, well, you know what?
Maybe you can.
It's such a big deal. It really is. And lastly, real quick here, there's no word on the number 8, please, Terry Ford. No word on Faison, but as a group, how are the running backs doing?
Regardless, I know we lost a lot of production in Rocket Sanders, but when you look at that room overall, it's better than what it was last season. I mean, there's multiple guys in there that can help us win SEC football games, and whether Sewell is able to play against Virginia Tech or not, you're going to see multiple running backs against Virginia Tech, and I'm eager to kind of see what those guys do on offense, on special teams, catching the ball out of the backfield, running the ball. It's a talented group.
So there you go. Again, it's with Sewell, it's 5 deep. If not, it's 4 deep, and you know what a bunch of them can do. So, like I said, where's the line that gets drawn in terms of being able to fully prep Rasul Faison next week versus telling him, son, we're not giving up on you, but this week we may have to. Again, is that on Tuesday? Shane speaks again on Tuesday, so we'll
see what he says.
We'll find out more.
Look again. There's no coaching guide for this, man. You're just not.
No. That's our Gamecock Notebook for this Friday. We'll come back on the other side with the drive around the SEC. We'll update our poll question. We'll update our question to you. There's 2 things on Twitter we're doing today. No start bench drop today. Instead, we've asked you to give us your 3 choices for Carolina's permanent opponents when the SEC goes to 9 games. So we'll do that. And speaking of that, something that Shane has touched on with us here at the station before, but he mentioned it again last night when it comes to the future of SEC and non-conference scheduling. We'll do that as part of the drive around the SEC, and that's next. Integrated Media is ready to make your football viewing experience even better than ever before this coming football season, or for that matter, anything else that you like to watch. But it's all about football, right? And it really is about football. Call Integrated Media, 803-948-8327. They make house calls. Maybe you have a really cool setup already in your family room, man cave, wherever it is that you watch games primarily. We'll do it better with the latest in technology, whether it's new televisions, new speakers, Dolby Atmos sound, and an amazing amp or receiver. They can get it all done for you. Want to go outdoors with equipment that looks and sounds like the indoors, and you can still hang out by the pool. You can grill all your steaks and burgers and dogs and not miss 1 second of the action. Yes, Integrated does that as well. One room, whole house, Wi-Fi that works everywhere for better streaming and gaming. 803-948-8327. Nobody better. We're home theater than Integrated Media.
On the roads, we still have some accidents happening on our drive home on a Friday. Garners Ferry Road at Atlas Road. Monticello Road between Columbia College Drive and I-20. Also Old Barnwell Road and Ermine Road. St. Andrews Road at Jameel Road. Two Notch Road at Taylor Street. Then construction, like always, I-126 between Hugie and I-26. I-26 between Bush River Road and exit 108A and 125. That is Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road, and I-20 between I-26, exit 64, Broad River Road, and exit 65. We'll get back in here. Time to go around the SEC on the postgame show.
Welcome back in. Time for our drive around the SEC. I just like to let this bump play.
I know, pretty good, isn't it?
This is, it's easily one of my top 5 Stone songs. I don't know if it's my number 1, but it might be. It might be. And I'm that guy. You could take, and this, I love the Rolling Stones, so this is not a knock on anybody or anything, but you could take the top 20 best-selling hits of the Rolling Stones and have them never get played again, and then go to the next 20, and then the next 20 after that. And you're like, man, these guys are so,
They had a few.
They're so prolific. They're just
they had a few in their
Mick
time.
and Keith could write a song, man, just like John and Paul could write a song, and then some, And And then some. Anyway, all right, drive around the SEC time. Again, by now, most of you know. If you don't, hey, good news. Yesterday, the presidents and chancellors of the Southeastern Conference okayed the move to 9 conference football games starting next season. We don't know who the permanent opponents will be, but there will be 3 of them and then 6 rotating opponents every year. And the way it's going to work is that in a 4-year cycle, which I know is really not even the norm anymore, sadly, for college athletics, but that's another story altogether. But in a 4-year cycle, everybody in the SEC will play everybody in the SEC home and away. And in the 2 years of that, in the first 2 years, if you will, you will see everybody in the league, some at home, some on the road. I don't yet know, I don't know if it'll be as simple, Terry. I would do it this way, honestly, as simple as some kind of coin flip for who starts with 4 home games and who starts with 5 home games. I know that was one of the things that coaches found mildly problematic. It was like, well, some years we're going to have only 4 home games. Yep. And then the next year you're going to have 5. I mean, these things balance themselves out. It also, opens up once again the question of competitive balance, both inside and out of the conference. The conference tells us they have a formula. They've employed an analytics company to help them determine the permanent opponents. Greg Sankey also said, and I found this interesting, I would imagine you would do it for at least a 4-year period, though, Terry, but that the permanent opponents might not always be permanent. And this may not be something where once we decide this coming December, which is, by the way, when we think we're going to find out, that's it. For the next century,
right?
This is who you're playing, unless they leave the league or something like that. So I don't think it's – I think
not
it
like
could,
blood brothers.
Right. Yeah, you could be revisited. And we've talked with Coach Beamer about this for a long time because Carolina, starting next year – again, Virginia Tech happens in a couple of days here. Well, a week and a half. But starting next year, Carolina in 6 seasons has home and homes with Miami, NC State, and North Carolina, which I'm totally 100% here for. And you obviously play Clemson every year.
Yes.
So, will other schools follow? And by the way, Andy Staples of On3, who, again, many of you know, played for Steve Spurrier at Florida, has written for Sports Illustrated and The Athletic, now, again, is at On3, feels that the SEC making sure that everybody plays another Power 4 game is a direct nod to Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Kentucky. So what that does, Terry, is whether they meant to or not, I think that forces Kentucky to have to keep playing Louisville.
Play Louisville, and I love it. I guarantee you, Mark Stoops is walking around with bitter beer face.
Yeah, I think he and Mitch Barnhart both were like, Dad, go ahead.
Well, think about this. I mean, this totally screws Stoops' formula.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. Because they did. Remember, just if you're more like, what do y'all mean? Kentucky did come out. They didn't say, we will not play Louisville anymore. But what they did say publicly was, hey, if the SEC goes to 9, it could be a lot more difficult to play Louisville. And it's like, only if you don't have a football field.
Right. It's true.
That's the only way it's difficult.
And then you brought this up yesterday. I think you said in passing, hey, man, bring on Bedlam.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's rock and roll here.
There's no reason now. Oklahoma, and boom, you just nailed it. There's your one.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. I hope that Oklahoma will continue to have games with the Michigans of the world. I hope South Carolina keeps Miami, NC State, and North Carolina on the schedule. That's what people want.
The key to this is you also know that if you play these games and they're not going to penalize you when it comes to a college football playoff,
right,
that your strength of schedule is going to matter as a component.
Right.
If you're a 3-loss team and somebody in the ACC or wherever's the 3-loss team, your strength of schedule and the fact you're playing difficult teams matters.
Now, again, Shane is all for these games. He makes some interesting points about what he needs to see across the conference, but here he is on the 9-game schedule and the competitive balance.
I agree with him 100% on this, don't you?
Yeah, let's
No one asked our opinion really as coaches. We had a 1-hour Zoom yesterday, Todd, all the SEC head coaches that we were on for an hour with Commissioner Sankey, and amazing that never came up in the 1 hour that we're getting ready to go to a 9-game.
I'm so surprised.
Yeah, nor did they say, what do y'all think about this? As a competitor, I love it. I think it's great for the fans because the fans want to see quality opponents week in, week out. And I'll say what I've said all along. I'm great with it as long as every other school in the SEC is playing the schedule that we're playing. Because we play Clemson, Kentucky plays Louisville, Florida plays Florida State, and Georgia plays Georgia Tech. The other, 12? The other 12 teams in our league don't play a out-of-conference regular rival. So that's awesome that every school is going to be required to play one out-of-conference Power 4 team. Great. Well, we already do that. And we also play Miami, North Carolina, NC State, and on and on and on over the next few years. And I'm not shying away from competition. That's awesome. I'm all for it as long as the other teams that we're competing against for playoff spots and all that as well, they're playing the same 11 Power 4 games a year, which is the direction that we're going. And if they are, awesome. And if they're not, then that's not very, let's be honest, fair in a lot of ways as well. You don't see, I've used this description before, you don't see the NFL has a 17-game regular season. The Kansas City Chiefs don't play 17 games against the NFL and then be okay if the Broncos play 16 NFL games, and then they go play one extra game against a college team, in other words, for a playoff berth. So as long as it's all fair, I'm great with it. And if it's not, then I think everybody needs to look at what are we doing. But at the end of the day, I'm excited. I think it's great as a competitor. I want to coach in those games. The fans want to come to those games. But I just also have an obligation to make sure that our team is in the same boat as the other 15 teams in this league.
I think Shane stole from us because I always say that the Patriots don't drop out of Week 5 to go play the Argonauts. I kid. But yes, Terry, he is right, and my hope there. He wants to keep those, and I know this. I will say that I've spoken with him, certainly publicly on this show. I've had a chance to talk with him off the air a couple of times about this very thing, and I know with 100% certainty that he wants to keep those games, and I think South Carolina is going to. What I'd like to see is an even greater lobbying effort from some of the coaches like Shane, like Kirby, like Sark, Brian Kelly, that are going to play the tougher games. Josh Heupel. Because right now, Florida has kind of pulled an Indiana of late. Now, again, they have FSU, and I know they've been playing Miami of late. But if you've seen some of the things Florida announced, it's like, wait, you're telling me you're happy that you just rescheduled Charleston Southern and Florida Atlantic? Kentucky. Y'all, the last time Kentucky played two Power 4 schools in 1 year was 2004, and the other school was Indiana.
I was getting ready to say it was Indiana.
And right. it ain't last year's Indiana. And I don't know that last year's Indiana hangs around a whole lot longer anyway, to be perfectly honest. We'll see. Pulling for you, IU. We'll see what happens. Missouri doesn't go out and really challenge itself all that much.
Well, that hurt them. Like people last year talking about Missouri when they were in the mix. It was like,
they were a 9-3 that was not in the conversation. Yeah. Right. They were a 9-3. Unlike Carolina, Bama, and Mississippi, they were not in the conversation. I hope Greg Sankey, along with the television partners, can look around. And as I've said, if y'all want to know what my solution would be, I say Power 4 versus Power 4, and in your three non-cons, ACC is likely going to go to 9 games as well. And in your other 3, you find a way to rotate some form of round robin against everybody. It's not always going to be equal, and there's nothing you can really do about that when you have 60-something schools. Let's face it. The Panthers aren't good, and the Chiefs are. Sometimes the Panthers play a team like the Chiefs.
Yes.
It's just, there's only so much you can do at any one time.
And I just think they need to make this uniform in the Power 4.
Yeah, but Kentucky and Missouri don't want to do some of that, and that could be a bit problematic. That's our drive around the SEC. We will get you updated on our final poll question and a little Jay versus the Internet coming up.
Quick check on the traffic. Accidents, Garners Ferry Road at Atlas Road, Monticello Road at Columbia College Drive. Also, Old Barnwell Road at Ermine Road, St. Andrews Road at Jamil Road, Two Notch Road at Taylor Street, and also our bevy of road construction on I-20, I-26, and I-126 as well. Yes, sir.
I just want to show you this. I know you don't care about soccer, but today, Chelsea went to West Ham, two London teams, and Chelsea won 5-1, and it was ugly.
Oh my God!
But look, it's not real, but it's just read what it says.
That's actually funny as hell. That's hilarious. Oh my God!
Apparently, I read a little bit. It was 5-1, and apparently it should have been worse.
I was going to say 5-1, even 5-1, right? That's phenomenal. Oh, that's so good. That's hilarious.
All right, welcome back in. Final few minutes of the post-game show here on this Friday. Again, Elijah and Justin with the high school scoreboard show tonight at 7, brought to you by Cotman Transmission. Speaking of younger athletes, big shout out to the Irmo boys who are, I guess they're back home today, falling last night at the Little League World Series, and a hell of a run, man. That they did a great job. It's about as deep as any South Carolina team has gotten at the Little League World Series, at least in a couple of generations, from what I'm told. I mean, it's just so hard to get to Williamsport to begin with, and then to win a couple of games.
And they were they were 2 outs away from advancing to the U.S. Championship. They were up when the other kid from Vegas hit that 3-run bomb.
Yeah. So I know tough way to go down, but. Hold your heads up high, boys. You had a good run.
Yeah.
Made a lot of the fun. I mean, listen, it was so funny last night how Twitter and Facebook were kind of going nuts with Why am I crying for over Little League baseball, and things like that, and it was nice to see.
Well,
I mean, I think they captured a lot of hearts and imagination.
I'll give you the example is I was at the gym because I have that powerlifting competition coming up soon.
Sure.
And I was at the gym and people.
Oh my God, he's pulled his arms off.
Remember that? How great is that Saturday Night Live? But you totally lost me. Now I'm trying to think about my
Little League World Series.
Damn you, Phillips.
Little League World Series.
And people were like stopping their workout to watch the game.
Yeah.
People were congregating.
Oh, it's compelling.
Around the TVs.
It was compelling, man.
And usually, Jay, you know as good as I do, the TVs are on, they're kind of background, and people are working out, and they'll look up every now and then. But folks were stopping to watch it. It was those kids, man, thumbs up.
Yeah, so
just thumbs up.
Way to go, boys. Way to go. You made the whole Midlands proud of it. Whole state.
Absolutely.
Repping the whole state of South Carolina.
You want to hit these real quick?
Let's do it, and then we'll finish up with some of
everything else. All right, real fast there, Jay Phillips.
Okay.
Here you go. Jay versus the Internet. Will the Mariners snap their 5-game losing streak tonight? They are home versus the A's. The A's have a losing record on the road. Seattle a winning record at home.
Yes.
Blake Snell.
The country singer?
Yes, my favorite country singer and pitcher. Blake Snell has had one start this year on the road. He went 5 innings.
Okay.
Blake Snell tonight, over under 5 1/3 innings pitched versus the Padres in San Diego.
Under.
Corey Seager leads the Rangers in home runs at home with 9. Will Corey Seager hit a home run at home tonight versus the Cleveland Indians? Yes or no?
No, because it's the Guardians.
Did I say Indians?
Sorry, I just tried to be a smartass. No.
No home run?
I'd like to say yes, but no.
All right.
Then he probably will. Because that's been going against me a lot. Is there one more? Is that it?
No, that's it. You get 3.
Okay. All right, cool.
And will Terry Ford ever call the Cleveland baseball team the Guardians?
J.
That's a J or nay.
Eventually.
What do you got on all your little
All right,
fancy
so
polls?
we've asked you guys today, no start bench drop today, no top 5 Friday. Instead, your interactivity with us was I asked you, as a Gamecock fan, to give us your choices for Carolina's 3 permanent opponents when the SEC goes to 9 games next year. And again, we'll likely find out those permanent opponents for reals after the football season. We ended up getting 12 schools with a vote. So the schools that didn't get a vote, by the way, if I can do this real quick here, were Mississippi. No, let's see. Hold on. No. Wait. Okay. Never mind. I don't have time to do this. Texas A&M didn't get a vote. Mississippi didn't get a vote. Arkansas did get a vote. Who am I missing, Terry?
Arkansas got 1 vote, I think you said earlier.
And State got a vote. Auburn didn't get a vote.
Nope.
And I'm just blanking on who the other one is. Oh, that's it, because Carolina, duh, Jay. Stupid. God almighty.
Did Carolina get a vote?
I'm glad it's Friday.
Votes, Jay?
I'm glad it's Friday. So 12 schools got a vote, all right? Arkansas, Alabama, Texas, LSU, and Oklahoma only got 1. The winner, and I'm glad of this, Georgia. And they outpaced everybody by a considerable number, actually. By, I don't know, at least a dozen votes. Vanderbilt... Let me see. Hold on. Nope. Nope. Kentucky finished 2nd.
Okay.
Vanderbilt finished 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Florida 4th. Tennessee 5th. So there you go.
I thought Tennessee would be a little bit higher. But
I did too. I personally chose Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee. I said, though, as a caveat on my tweet about that earlier and on the show here, Carolina's not going to get Tennessee.
No.
I think Tennessee's going to get, if I had to guess, they're certainly going to get Bama and Vandy. So they only have 1 school flexibility. I think they'll get Kentucky. Georgia, who I want Carolina to get, also only has 1 flexible spot because they're going to get Auburn and Florida. I don't know.
I really think, again, if we're throwing out 3, Kentucky definitely, I think will be. I can see Florida, and it's either Georgia or Missouri.
Yeah, I hope. And we'll talk more about it through the year. I hope it's Georgia. I know some of you might go, oh, I don't. And I get it. But just as somebody who's my generation, Georgia on the schedule is just supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm. You were used to it like almost your whole life.
Yeah, I mean, I would say only like 10 years of the years I've been alive, they haven't. Great stuff today. Thank you. Right back at you. See y'all Monday.
Final check on the traffic here on the game. We got a few accidents still lingering. 2 notch at Taylor Street, St. Andrews Road at Jameel Road, Monticello Road between Columbia College Drive and I-20, and Garner's Ferry Road at Atlas Road, and obviously lots of construction. I-126 between Hugie and I-26. I-26, Bush River Road, exit 108A, and Old Sandy Run Road, exit 125. And Blink Bonnie Road between Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane. Bridge is blocked. And Atomic Road, both northbound and southbound, are closed due to construction. Up next, best of the game. Enjoy your weekend. It's 107.5 The Game. High school football scoreboard show sponsored by Cotman Transmissions, coming up at 7, by the way, with Elijah and Justin.